Hello guys, what's up? Welcome to the first episode of RageQuit Podcast. It's Huddy here.
My name is Cameron.
I'm MarxAthium.
And it's your boy Ryokotsey.
Oh, that was really cringy, but we're gonna go with it. All right, guys. So this is our first episode. We have a little bit to talk about, kind of just getting into the getting used to doing these podcasts like that. But today we're gonna be talking about Xbox and Sony, a lot of things on those lines, and then we're gonna be talking about the new Call of Duty Cold War trailer, and also talk about some of the leaks that they've had so far, aka the multiplayer, zombie modes, and just the whole campaign, the thing that they're releasing basically kind of after Black Ops 1. So let's get right into the Xbox and PlayStation. So all right, guys, since you are the one with all the information right now, so what's the difference of prices of Sony and Xbox? They released it the other day on Twitter, I'm pretty sure. So
via the announcement on Twitter, we found that the price difference between the Xbox and the PlayStation 5 were roughly similar. They're coming in at $499 a piece. But the PS5's digital version is raking in at $399. Much cheaper.
Dude, I could tell. Well, I mean, I don't know if you guys ever saw this, but like the Xbox has kind of got in trouble here recently because like the whole graphics situation. Like especially since it's not outperforming like PlayStation's, especially since, it's kind of like all these consoles are becoming PCs at this point. And it's
especially since they're finally adding in SSDs.
Yeah, like SSDs is like the final touch to just becoming a computer. Xbox has already put Microsoft Store on PCs. PlayStation's already in talks with tons of companies about making more of a platform on PC as well. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I mean, for me, it's like, as a PC player, right? As a person who mains PC, it eliminates my need to get an Xbox. Like, I'm not going to get an Xbox just because I don't want to spend the extra money, since I can get everything with Xbox Game Pass on PC. But then also, like you said, it's a lot of Sony games, even the exclusives, they're starting to do the same thing. For example, they've started to add in a lot of the PS4, the bigger PS4 games. Like, I know Horizon Zero Dawn just got added into Steam. So if they keep doing that, it's going to eliminate really any need for PC players. Because obviously there's always going to be people who don't have PCs, right? Like, the upfront cost is more expensive to get a decent PC.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, you're looking at like PCs being like at least a good one, like the whole 27 Super phase nowadays. You're looking at like $2,500 for a good PC. Like,
exactly.
motherboards and stuff like that. It's just the graphics card that's so expensive these days.
Mm-hmm.
I am gonna give them credit though, considering they are incorporating RTX into both of them. We're starting to get to the point where it's negligible at best what it's going to be in difference. The only difference is going to be whether they can hit 60 frames or not. And I believe both of them are now, including I think I know for a fact the PS5 will do true 4K at 60 in some titles.
So that brings a good point. Is I actually, and you had just said, I think, the opposite, so I may have read it wrong, but I have to find the article, so I'll do that when I finish talking about this. But I saw that Sony developers are saying that for cross-platform games, they're saying that they're struggling to hold native 4K at 60 FPS on the PS5, which is kind of a big deal, because when they initially launched all this, they were saying that it's going to be 120 frame per second console at native 4K.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to hit.
Yeah, going on that point, like, we were playing Modern Warfare the other day. Me and Ryu and my brother, we're playing Modern Warfare, and I don't have any problems. I have an expensive PC. I built it so like that,
Mm-hmm.
And it's just not fair for people like Ryu that don't have like the expensive $2,500 PCs and stuff like that, trying to play Modern Warfare, when Modern Warfare and Activision put out a statement saying that you can run Modern Warfare's Warzone under i3 processor and as low as like a 1050 GTX or even a 980, but
yep.
Ryu has a 1050, and it's just like, it makes no sense because it uses more of his CPU than it uses his VRAM. I feel like they're unbalanced when it comes to graphics. They can't control that compared to console. Like, console, you get these little console lags or whatever. They could barely even keep the graphics up with the consoles like CPUs.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if they're going to keep making these games more realistic, they need to evolve the consoles around them, because the PS4 has been outdated for since 2013. I mean, putting all these brand new graphics. I mean, there's been a whole bunch of new content bringing out since 7 years ago. Like, how are they evolving PS4 around these brand new graphics? Like, it's just, and also bring it to PC, it just makes stuff more difficult with different files, different graphics resolutions, different gameplay mechanics, and just frames in general, because, PS4 and Xbox have caps.
Yeah.
PC doesn't. So
and the old techniques that they used to do with like dynamic resolution, where it would go up and down based on what the performance was, isn't gonna slide anymore with like stuff like the RTX series that just came out, and the old cards that are like the first generation. So even though they might not be rounded out, you're gonna look at the consoles and they're gonna be able to technically do stuff like that, but they're gonna have to balance it out with everything else, even to hit 4K, like in general. And I didn't see anything at all about whether they're on other games, if you run them in 1080p or 1440p, if then you can get a solid 60 or 120 frame rate, but max graphics instead of running it in 4K. There's no option for that. I know the PS4 Pro had that in certain titles, like The Last of Us Remastered, for example.
Yeah,
but...
I mean, we have a big bullet point right here, and I want Ryu to talk about this more because he has it put down on his thing as an idea. Do you think a lot of people are switching from Sony to PC, especially for Xbox? Xbox has like seen a lot of decreases, even since even since the release of Xbox One. Xbox One's release was, I mean, I bought an Xbox One just to watch Netflix because it sucked at graphics of any other game, didn't catch up. Netflix was shot in 4K. That was the only game that was the only thing on 4K on the console. So I mean, do you see like a really big decline on consoles right now, especially since Ryu, you're the one recently that switched to PC from PlayStation, been on PlayStation for long, and so what do you think about that?
I do strongly believe there's a sharp decline in sales for both companies as of recent. I mean, looking at the amount of units pushed out, PlayStation managed to sell 1,000 units on their first 24 hours, doubling Xbox's unit pushing. You look to the end of these charts, and they were barely managing to scrape any out the door. They were taking more back than they were pushing out. A lot of people are switching to PC just because the availability and ease of access and changing parts and everything's starting to switch over to PC. Yeah, it's going to be a lot like buying a console is a lot like buying a PC with just their operating system.
That's absolutely true.
A pre-built. That's basically a pre-built. And I mean, now to build something decent right now, you don't really even need much at all. I went online to go get rid of a couple old GPUs that I have, and these are pretty solid 1080p cards, and they're only going for like $80 and stuff like that. That's extremely affordable compared to back when I bought them.
That's a really big point.
Something pretty solid right now.
It's a really big point.
You don't have to worry about 4K. Because that's still an evolving technology. I've got an 9900K. I still have to turn shit down to get to 4K.
Because like if you don't have even a monitor that can play on 4K or a TV that can run 4K, then it's completely useless to buy the hardware to run it anyways, because you're not going to see it.
Yeah, just like the new CPUs, like i9s, they have brand new 4K CPU built Intel graphics. I mean, what's the point? What's the point of buying a $700 27 Super when you could just use your own CPU to run 4K?
And even if the console can hit 4K 120, like they were trying to say that they were designing it around, where are you gonna find a 4K 120 hertz TV for these? You're really not. They're not.
For $2,500, you can find one.
Yeah, which at that point, why are you buying the TV instead of buying the PC in a decent 1440 hertz monitor?
Exactly.
That's so true. And I mean, when Sony released like the whole statement of PS5, everyone was going crazy because they were looking at the parts, and I made a video on this on my old YouTube channel, and it looks like it, like the parts and stuff like that, it just doesn't add up to the $499. So at this point, they're really losing money because they're putting so much money into this console, and everyone was freaking out because they're like, oh, this console's gonna be $800. Like, this is literally a PC like that we're buying here, when we can literally go buy I can build a beautiful PC that can outrun that PlayStation 5 with but easily $500 to $600. Even going on Facebook Marketplace, you can find a used one that could push past the PS5.
And a lot of the points are also going to be, you're never going to get just max graphics. They're not going to do it. They've never done it. They're not going to. They're going to turn down a few things to make sure they hit that solid point, so that all those people that just want to plug and play don't have those hiccups. So if it does do 4K at 30 frames per second, there's not going to be a hiccup at all. If it's 60, they're going to make sure they turn down things to make sure that it hits that.
Yeah. I'm going to play antithesis real quick, or play like the other side of the argument here, though. And as somebody who has been a console player for the majority of his life, right? Like I didn't even I didn't even have a PC until I started my YouTube channel just a little over a year ago. And so for me, the thing that Sony has even above Xbox now is the exclusives, because Sony exclusives are just incredible. And the bigger exclusives, they're not putting out on PC access yet. So unless you buy that console, you're not going to get to play a lot of what are considered some of the best games that people have ever played.
I mean,
good point that Huddy was making about the Xbox One having a rocky start. They haven't recovered from it, like, at all.
I mean, Xbox is just like AMD at this point. Like, they've been struggling to keep up with PlayStation. The only thing that Microsoft has on anything is their PCs, the Microsoft, Windows.
It's because gaming is almost irrelevant for Microsoft. It's just an extra market that they got into.
But like, if you want like a more in-depth position of how Xbox is going to be PlayStation in the future, is Xbox already has a platform on everywhere. Really, they have Microsoft Store. They already own a PC, basically. They basically own Windows. So, like, I mean, I've also heard in the back of the days that MacBook, as very much Apple has been thinking about making PCs for gaming as well. Since Mac, has never been known for gaming. If you gamed on a Mac, you're always getting to get laughed at. I mean, but
so many games aren't even released on Mac.
There's just so many things that could happen, but. Going off of that, it's just Xbox right now is just in a checkmate move against Sony until Sony sees improvement of getting onto a PC more often. I mean, they already have that one app. What is it, Ryu? For Sony?
That'll be PlayStation Now.
Yeah, that's about it. But when you go on there, like what Koblinski said, is just they don't have all the good games, like the exclusives, like God of War, Uncharted,
Ratchet and Clank.
Yeah, Ratchet and Clank.
Not only that, you need a pretty good internet connection to be able to do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like Stadia. It's all streaming.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't very good the one time I tried it. I did play it when it did have the original God of War, and even then it struggled, and I have pretty good internet, so...
All right, yeah. So going off of that, that's a good talk about Xbox and PlayStation. If you guys want to hear further more on that, we can get some more research onto that. But we kind of talked about majority of what we really wanted to talk about PlayStation and Xbox, especially since they announced about a month ago about the new stuff, and then last week they announced about the new drops. But let's talk about Call of Duty. That's the one thing I'm really excited about to talk about on this podcast. Me and Ryu, about last week, we watched the trailer together. We were freaking out because we were so excited about Cold War, especially since they said that it was going to leave off from about 5 to 6 years after Black Ops 1, going straight into the USSR and the whole Cuban Missile Crisis, which is where it left off on launch, if you guys remember launch, and stuff like that. And what do you guys think from watching that trailer? Do you guys think this game so far this game is going to look really cool? And what do you think the campaign's probably going to lead to?
So that's actually, I guess that kind of, the way I'll lead into that was with a big question. You guys seem to have done a little bit more research with COD than I have recently. Is this a reboot? Kind of like Modern Warfare was a reboot of the Modern Warfare series? Is this a reboot of Black Ops?
Oh no, man! Like this is literally leaving off afterwards, because we have so much rich history from the 40s to the 90s. From the 40s, right after we, the whole World War II and stuff like that, and then you got Vietnam, and I'm pretty sure Vietnam was in the 60s. We're leaving off to after the 60s, which is after the Vietnam, but we're kind of seeing a little bit more backtracking since Hudson and Mason and Woods are back into the game. This is pre Black Ops 2, when we know that Woods is alive.
So it's between 1 and 2.
Yes.
A true sequel, yes.
A pre-sequel kind of deal, like Borderlands.
Like Borderlands. Okay, I got you.
It's gonna be awesome.
I think if you were to ignore Black Ops 2 and onwards and just did the original in this game, you'd be able to follow the story pretty cleanly, which is what I'm hoping for. Because
Black Ops 2 was set in the not so distant future.
I think that's in 5 years from now.
25.
Yeah. So they were kind of a little bit in the future, but I feel like Black Ops 2 could have been released now, and then they could have released this Cold War literally back in 2012. Like, I never liked how Treyarch in Black Ops series, they never were like this. They were always in order, you know, going from World War, and then they went to, you know, Call of Duty Black Ops 1, you know, Vietnam, World War II days, and then releasing Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 2, which just jumped, like, 60 years ahead out of nowhere, you know, just randomly, and that's when the game started going too futuristic. And then coming back, like, 10 years later almost, to kind of just be like, oh yeah, we're just going to go back and finish up the history that we literally forgot about. And
however, I am pretty happy to see that they're going to be doing that now, because if it had released back then, it probably would have looked pretty dated, and they might not have had all the ideas that they do now, that they've had time to get all the feedback from people who played 1 through 4.
Yeah, I mean, like they have tons of time right now. I mean, from the 70s to the 90s is when the whole Cold War was basically going on. You got the Korean War, you got all that stuff. I mean, USSR didn't change to Russia, you know, especially like within that until the 91, I'm pretty sure. So like, there's a lot of history that they got for 20 years of content within this game. So I mean, I'm excited to see how they play their cards. If they're gonna, you know, maybe leave off of a good start, ending point for another series off of Cold War, going into like, let's say like Desert Storm, let's say going to like the Black Hawk Down kind of situation. You know, we see those movies in the 90s when, you know, my dad was in those wars. You know, it's just exciting to see, because they have so much potential and so much content to bring in with the 20 years that's missing. Especially since we're going to be basically almost in Russia the whole time we're going to be in this game, you know, going to infiltrating. And I'm excited to see what Hudson Mason's doing, because you remember Hudson was corrupted.
Yeah, I'm excited to see that lore come back up.
Yeah. And that basically, I'm excited for the zombies too, because you know how Hudson was infiltrated with the numbers and stuff, and you know, we might even see Reznov pop back up, because you know how he saw him through his best friend from the back of the days.
I think that's over though.
Yeah, it might be over, but man, they left out a lot during the trailer. Like, I'm excited to see the new future trailers, see if they get more in depth into the play of the campaign. But the campaign could be anything really at this point. They left it really open in the trailer, which I love, and but I'm really excited to see what the multiplayer aspect is. And
that's my thing.
Yeah,
because I know everybody's got their own thing. Like, you got your zombies players, you got the people who love the campaign of COD, and they try to like do all these different challenges to beat it on veteran and stuff. But then you got the PvP players, and I probably align more with zombies and PvP. I mean, I play all the campaigns, but the PvP for me is what's make or break the game. You know, we were talking a little bit before we started filming about how this most recent Call of Modern Warfare it's my least favorite COD, just because I don't mesh with the multiplayer at all. So I'm gonna be real excited. I think I was doing some research that it's leaked that the PvP beta is gonna be sometime in October. So I'm real excited to get my hands on that and kind of get a feel for what. Yeah, on PlayStation, on PlayStation specifically.
Yeah, and I'm excited about that, because I think they have the beta keys if you pre-order Call of Duty Cold War right now, and I'm pretty sure September 11th or September 13th, somewhere around there, is the beta for like a weekend. I'm pretty sure, something like that, for multiplayer. But that's only exclusive for PlayStation. So I think when you're like, I think October's for Xbox. I'm not too sure, because you know how Call of Duty favors at PlayStation now since 2014.
Yeah. That was a hard switch.
Yeah, it was a hard switch, but it was really dirty, because you know how PlayStation offered more money than Xbox. It's just, I'm excited to see that, but there's a lot of stuff that they're infiltrating back into. They're adding only 3 perks in multiplayer. You can have up to 5 attachments on your guns. They brought back the stoner guns. They brought back
so it's like old school COD again.
Yeah, but the one thing I'm really sad about is that they didn't release the Galil. But I'm hoping they like save that as a secret, because the Galil is one of those guns that have not been really brought back.
Or it could be a DLC.
And it was a good one.
Yeah, and that's a good one. But all the old guns like AK-74U and all that's coming back from Black Ops 1. Everyone's excited about that crap. And
you know they're gonna have the battle pass too, so it could also be one of those guns that you know, on fan request they can add it into. Because like with Modern Warfare, that's something I do like, is all of the guns, so long as you do the battle pass, you get the guns. Or even because you don't even, they're all free, like the new implements. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but if the battle pass goes away and you don't have the gun yet, then there's just a weapon challenge you can do within the category to unlock that new gun.
Oh yeah, I mean Xbox. I mean, since 2014, you know, the whole FIFA, you know, boxes you have to buy for in-game purchases just kind of blew everything up. And ever since, you know, the whole like battle pass, you know, because of like, you know, battle royales, you know, all that, I'm excited to see like if Call of Duty is gonna make this game more of a pay to win, or if they're gonna make it more of like an equal, thing. Like if you buy a battle pass, you get these weapons. But back in like Modern Warfare, it kind of didn't work out because if you didn't have the battle pass, you would kind of miss out on a lot of opportunities. That's why I always went, because at that point you're buying a $60 game, $70 game if they, for PS5. I'm pretty sure they're adding an extra $10. And then you also got to pay, let's think about it, for a year you got to pay $10. You're also adding another $120 onto battle passes. More than actually, less than that, it's like 3 months, I'm pretty sure. So you're still adding at least $40. So I mean, they're making their money easily, but it's just to see where they're gonna put that money to. Are they gonna make it worth it, or are they gonna make it kind of like just putting money something that's not gonna be useful? Because people want to put their money for an advantage. They don't want to put their money in something that everyone else can get an opportunity in.
And I believe we can rest assured with the new battle pass, that it will be linked with Warzone's battle pass. So it'll be like owning 2 battle passes for the price of 1.
I know if you pre-order, you do get skins in Warzone. I believe of Wood.
Yeah.
Woods?
Yeah, you get Woods. That's out right now. But it's kind of cool because I've never seen Infinity Ward and Treyarch actually combine.
Like work together on something?
Yeah, work together.
When you were saying earlier about it ending in like the Cold War ending in 91 and spreading the story towards like more modern things, maybe that's the plan, to connect it to the new Modern Warfare.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
That'd be
to
sick.
link the two. Since this is a reboot of the Modern Warfare series anyways, this could be a way to link the 2 stories.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's more of a reboot of Black Ops 1, but, I mean, I could see it being like that, because, Modern Warfare is more of on the unrealistic, Infinity Ward was kind of more unrealistic, like, history. I would say Call of Duty Black Ops has always been kind of a more of an accurate, like, let's say the Vietnam, World War, and stuff like that, but, like, the whole Black Ops 2 areas when everyone was kind of but it's also the best game ever created, with multiplayer. Story mode was a little slacky, but, I mean, dude, multiplayer is everyone's like fantasy, like competitive.
Yeah,
I want to see competitive Call of Duty become bigger than what it was. I mean, it's dead right now. Like Call of Duty competitive is dead. I mean, hell, Fortnite's even outreached Call of Duty's competitiveness. And
that's where I'm a little bit opposite on it. I've been kind of burnt out on Call of Duty's multiplayer for a very long time because it's been so similar every single time. People just get slightly adjusted to the new styles of gameplay and the new weapons, and then it's
pretty
the
much
same as usual.
Graphics changes.
Well, my brother kind of came up with something. He looked on this article, and this one article, I want to link it, but I don't know what it is. I have to ask him about it. But he had this one article that said that the gameplay of multiplayer is supposed to be like Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2. So that's what this article compared the gameplay for the multiplayer, which I'm excited about that because Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 2 are both 2 competitive games. Modern Warfare 3 was released 2011, Black Ops 2 was released 2012. Those are back-to-back the best games. I mean, I remember just being in my room constantly dropping sports because those games literally took up my life. But I'm excited to see what they do for the multiplayer, especially with the aspects of what they're going to put in it. I don't really agree with the 5 attachments, mostly because back in the day, I understand futuristic games, there's 5 attachments on the gun.
It was like 2 attachments, right?
Yeah, realistically, I could only see 3, maybe even adding a special perk to add 4 or something like they did in Black Ops 2.
Yeah, but you lose your secondary.
Yeah, and it's just I'm excited to see what they do, but I feel like they're gonna, Call of Duty's always known for, especially Black Ops series is always known for switching out things and kind of ruining something with just a small little plug-in. And Modern Warfare is a little bit more adjusted than that. They always kind of make it like, hey, this is what's gonna be like, and get used to it. We're just gonna do a couple gun revamps, crap like that. But Call of Duty Black Ops, the first month is when you see a very big drastic change within the gameplay. And I feel like their first month of Call of Duty Black Ops, it's always been like a first month of like a trial beta.
I think something they need to do, and this is something that, one of the reasons Modern Warfare 2 is for a lot of people considered the best Call of Duty is because when that game first came out, there was no meta, right? Like every single gun was a viable option and more just dependent on your play style. You could use the intervention and one-shot kill people, or you could use EBR and you could snipe people pretty quickly with 3 shots from, a little bit closer range, stuff like that, right? And I feel like with all multiplayer games recently, Destiny multiplayer, even games like Overwatch, where like certain operators, or Siege, where certain operators are just better than others because of the guns they have available. Something that I miss is when every single gun was kind of a viable option, and it more just kind of changed how you played the game versus, you know, long range, short range, whatever, and like you could fit it to your play style. So that's something that I feel like has been missing from games for a while. And I get why they do it. It's to cycle through guns and make people use different stuff. But I like to have the freedom to choose my loadout and feel like I'm going to be competent if I'm not using this one specific gun.
For sure.
Fair.
Like, just going into the funny moments. Like, I'm a funny moment Call of Duty person. Like, I don't play it like for seriousness. I'm out of date. I'm old. I can't do competitive Call of Duty anymore. I have no eyes. You know, it's just like I love sitting there teabagging people, dude. Right? You know, I love killing them. I love giving that, you know, the dick in their face. You know, I like doing that shit, you know?
Give them that nay-nay.
Yeah, give them that nay-nay. And then, but like, I hope they include like a lot of more funny things. Like me and Ryu's been playing Halo yesterday. And I mean, just bringing in these small little cuts of funny, like wording and funny, like dialogue. And just funny gameplay, just having fun with it is what I'm hoping they do with the multiplayer instead of it being too competitive as well, like what Mark says. You know, too competitive could be a little too, you know, too eager and too. It could also draw a lot of players out. A lot of players play Call of Duty for fun.
Alienate people.
Is there gonna be a lot of room for, you know, YouTubers that do funny moments on the game? Is there gonna be, you know, like the whole slide and jump thing, like the whole Call of Duty Black Ops, like Call of Duty Ghost? I love that. I love the whole slide aspect. I love that because I could literally slide everywhere and then just teabag on someone just right when I slide on them. But I also miss is like, when was the last time they made a jumping dolphin dive? You know?
Yeah,
like
I think Black Ops.
I think Black Ops 1.
Black Ops 2 did that, I'm pretty sure.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah, but like I love just, you know, jumping around corners and shit, you know, like
Yeah.
just like you know, just out of the focus.
Well, that was
It's
something.
sort
So
of a balance.
Sorry, go ahead.
It's the last game that I really liked competitive that I thought did it very, very well was Halo 3. I've got to say.
Yeah, dude. Halo
Every
3.
one of these games should be modeled on Halo 3. And it would be balanced and people would have fun.
Yeah. And even multiplayer on Halo 3 was fun. Man, you hop in yourself into a Banshee and you're like, dude, I'm going to get like 20 kills. And you haven't died in like 10 minutes. But, I mean, it's just like, I hope they bring the fun aspect to it. I don't know what your guys' opinion on that. Like, I'm more of a funny guy. Like, I like hopping on there with my friends.
I agree.
But it's just that.
Another thing they could do too is like with some of the more recent CODs, they've been adding, like with the battle passes, they've been adding in just completely random weapons. Like you can run around with swords, and you can run around with like a bag of money that you can beat people with, or the crazy skins. I remember one in Black Ops 4. It was like you could turn your gun into like an airplane. Just weird stuff like that. That just, it adds the silliness factor, and it makes it just fun to see what's going to come out.
Yeah, and on top of that, I wanted to mention that there's not going to be any specialties like Black Ops 3, you know, like the newer Call of Duty, like Infinite Warfare, you know, crap like that. But going on here, I want to hear Ryu's opinion on this too, because we've been talking a lot. But Ryu's been playing Call of Duty for a long time. He's also good at it, and he's also been on console too. So majority of Call of Duty is a console players. I mean, especially for competitive. So what do you think about that, Ray?
I know that when they created a competitive environment in Call of Duty, it started to make it feel like more of a job rather than a game, which is what we've all set out to do, is play a game. And we kind of lose sight of that, and it forces us all into this mundane, recycled gameplay style that we do every single day, and slowly drives us away from the game. I know that, you know, when you get the funny moments, those funny clips, that's what draws you back every single day. And I'd like to see a lot more of that in future.
Yeah, I feel like Vondhard, the lead developer of some of the games and multiplayer for Call of Duty, for Treyarch's side, he's always known for favoring like competitive players' opinions. So like for us people that love just to hang out and play the game just for the fun of it, getting one-shot kills with a ballista, for instance, or DSR in Black Ops 2, you know, he ruined that aspect for everyone. And, you know, I hope Call of Duty doesn't favor the competitive side. You know, I hope they don't listen to too many competitive players, you know, like Fortnite did with Ninja, like Call of Duty Black Ops 2 did for, you know, Scumpy Optic. You know, it's just, I hope they don't nerf the guns that make it more fun for people that aren't in the competitive scene, because competitive's not for everyone. No one.
Exactly.
For me personally, I'm just playing this game just to play with my bros and start teabagging hoes. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't want that aspect to ruin it. Coming out, wake up one morning, there's a 15 gigabyte update because the game's gonna be probably 300 gigabytes.
Dude, the updates have become ridiculous.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that too. What do you guys think the space is gonna be for this new Call of Duty?
Oh my God, Modern Warfare was what, 200 gigabytes, 189, something like that.
175 gigabytes.
On mine, it was 185.
Jesus, dude.
I don't know why.
It's insane, and that's going on for the whole Xbox and PlayStation thing too that we were talking about earlier. Like they've been caught, putting in packets for just basically like empty packets into the games, so you have to delete other games. It's just they need to. I mean, look, we're going back to Xbox 360 days when the games were only like 15 gigabytes.
But you could like this skin in the 360 days, and it would just run.
Yeah, but I'm
not a thing anymore.
Yeah, it's just like Call of Duty GTA. Like the GTA was a perfect instance. I downloaded that for 30 gigabytes on my Xbox 360. Next thing you know, a year later when Xbox One comes out, it's like 100 gigabytes. Like
that game looks better though. Huge now though.
Yeah, but like at that point, within a year, they only had one DLC, and where did the 70 gigabytes go? Like graphics don't take up that much gigabyte. I mean, especially remastering it at that point. I mean, look at Elder Scrolls. I mean, for instance, when Skyrim came out remastered, it was only like 5 extra gigabytes, and that was a drastic change.
Can't wait to play Skyrim on my new LCD Samsung TV or refrigerator touchscreen.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 even had a high definition texture pack. I feel like that should be more widescreen, where if you want it, you can have like turn it all up and all that, like the original Skyrim. You can probably turn that thing all the way up in 4K and have no problems, and on like a lot of systems these days. But there should be like an HD opt-in. That way, if you really want to download another 100 gigabytes but have the game look like it does now, you can do that. Or you can default to, I can't get too close to this wall, or it gets blurry graphics, but the game runs incredibly well, and you can still turn up a lot of bells and whistles.
That's true. I mean, going on this one too, kind of pushing past to the big news for Call of Duty as well, especially since this is one of the biggest things we haven't seen since a good one since Black Ops 2. I don't know if you guys played Black Ops 2 Zombies. Best zombies, I think. Town, Transit. You got all those good ones, like the farm as well. You could just play at the farm if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's funny because I think Black Ops 2 was my least favorite zombies.
Really?
Yeah. And it didn't feel finished because the way they were designing it with the world to go around the world, they didn't release enough maps for it to really feel filled out. You know what I mean?
I'm a purist. I think my favorite zombies is World at War zombies. I'm gonna be honest.
Absolutely. I really want to play that game again. Absolutely.
So tell us a little bit more about the zombies aspect into the new Call of Duty, Ray.
I don't know a whole lot about this zombies. They are doing a very good job of keeping this under wraps. The only information that they've released about it is that it's going to be a zombies mode, and it will probably be a battle royale of sorts.
Yeah, that's
They're usually pretty quiet because the zombies usually has like a quieted story behind it that you kind of got to follow and find the secrets.
Dude, I can't stress enough how zombies is so important to the Call of Duty franchise. I mean, look, so many people have made their careers around zombies. Syndicate, Allier, a lot of people.
Oh, with J456.
Yeah, J456. Especially since he was the one that did the whole Black Ops. What was it? Was it Black Ops 3? Zombies.
All the Easter egg hunts.
Yeah, he did all the Easter egg hunts.
Oh man.
I don't know. Like, I feel like this battle royale. I don't know what they're gonna do with it. They do come out the battle royale. And I'm so excited about that. And I love zombies. I love hanging out, plugging in, an extra controller for me and my brother just to sit out before we go to work and be like, okay, dude, let's get the round 100 before we go to work a 12-hour shift. It's just the zombies is what's gonna bring out, and what's gonna if it's a good one, that's gonna bring a lot of people back to Call of Duty. Zombies and having a good multiplayer and having a good campaign. I stress it enough. Like, some people, I mean, campaigns are so important. I can't stress it up because if you look at the new Modern Warfare, remastered, what was it, Modern Warfare 2 remastered campaign, there were so many people. I think it was over 1 million people that bought a copy. So that shows you right there, 1 million people right there that rebought the Modern Warfare 2 campaign remastered. That shows you right there, there's already 1 million people that will buy a game for just its campaign, 8 hours of content. But I don't know about you, but Modern Warfare, dude, that was like 18 hours of content for a multiplayer. Like Infinity Ward does a good job when it comes to campaigns, and Black Ops is very, very good too. Like it's a fun campaign, but they're really short. And I hope they bring that aspect to it, especially adding a little bit of zombies like they did back in Black Ops 1 at the end, the JFK situation.
Yep.
It just the Ronald Reagan, I heard supposedly is supposed to be making us do some dirty stuff. It's gonna be crazy, and I feel like the zombie aspect is gonna be a very big thing for Call of Duty now.
I know we did speak about the file size, but Ryu, did you have a 1050, right?
Yes, sir.
Have you had time to look at the minimum requirements for the new Call of Duty Cold War?
No, I have not. I don't actually believe they have any of the requirements set out just yet.
All I know is they're going back. They're still with the IW design software, like the studio. So IW's been used for the past 4 or 5 Call of Duties with Infinite Warfare, Infinity Ward, and Treyarch. So I don't know if they're going to come out with a new studio for this one, or it's going to be IW studio, just like they've always been doing. Koblinski has the one out. Is this for the stats for this game, the Cold War? Or is that for the Modern Warfare Warzone?
This is, according to this website, this is the minimum requirements for Cold War, and then this is the
recommended.
Right. Yeah, that looks similar to what I've seen.
All right, you want to go ahead and read that off for us?
Okay, yeah. So let's look at the minimum requirements coming in at a Core i3 processor or an AMD FX 8120, 8 gigabytes of RAM, Windows 7 64-bit or better, an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 960 or AMD Radeon R7 260 graphic card, and Pixel Shader 5.0, a Vertex Shader 5.0, and 1024 megabytes of dedicated video RAM, being the low end of everything.
So
our high end.
Yeah, that just right there, that just shows like that might be, if that is actually their like lowest recommended, that's actually lower than freaking Warzone's. Like
I'll make a point here, like sixth gen Intel over here. I mean, right now we just hit the 10 series. Although I would not recommend anybody on an FX run this, because you're gonna have stutters that you can't even comprehend.
Yeah,
so if you are running one, you are used to that.
The thing with a game like Warzone is you have to the whole map is being rendered while you're in there, right? So when you're doing a campaign game, you can't or running a campaign in any game, it's gonna be just loading in that level, right? It's gonna be that specific map, very linear. But when you have an open world game like Warzone, it requires you to be doing a hell of a lot more to be able to run that game, since you can kind of run everywhere and get to any point at any time.
Yeah, that's like the whole aspect of that. What we were talking about the Ryu earlier. Like he played Warzone, it's open world. It honestly relies more on like the latency and like the servers as well. Like people don't understand that too. Like just people have just see how the servers run. Treyarch, I hate to say this, but Black Ops 4, Black Ops 4 Battle Royale was very tragedy to me. It seemed nothing different than PUBG. It seemed nothing different than a lot of the other Battle Royales. Blackout. And I just didn't like that. But, the whole CPU and stuff like that, I mean, running off of Warzone and stuff like that, they need to have a different requirement for Warzone specifically, because it's tying in more of your CPU, because it's using more memory, because it's accessing different points. Like what you said, instead of just one map, Ryu could run a freaking multiplayer map on Call of Duty just fine at that point, since it's just loading at one map. But they need to find out something different if they're going to be doing, Warzone maps or stuff like that. Warzone's most likely going to be inputted probably into Call of Duty Treyarch's place. It's going to have that little screen saying, hey, you go play Warzone, connected to Infinity Ward servers. That could create a lot of problems. Or just even an instinct. Because, even if there is a zombies, Battle Royale, like, I know Ryu and me is probably going to be playing some of that too. All of us are going to be playing that. But it's not fair to some people, when they don't have the dedicated stuff, or they keep it like that. i3, that is very low. I doubt an i3 could even run that game. Like, honestly, at that point.
I'll give credit, though. Call of Duty has always been pretty good on optimization, where, like you said before, most people don't understand that the servers are typically the problem. A lot of people who had lag issues, that's the main problem that is usually causing people playing Call of Duty games. It's not usually the computer can't run it. A lot of people have no problems turning everything all the way down in a competitive scene, or in the stories turning things up and getting maybe 50 or so, but getting a really nice experience. They can typically run pretty well on most machines, so I think that an i3 could probably run it, but I wouldn't go back to 6th gen, maybe 7th gen.
Yeah, 7th or 8th gen. Yeah, at that point, it's just it's the aspect of it just kind of forces PC players to kind of get that get the low end of the point, because I think right now PlayStation, Xbox needs to favor PC at this point, because PC has majority of the players of Call of Duty, especially since Call of Duty is the only thing that keeps people really on consoles besides their exclusives, and let's say God of War, Last of Us 2. I mean, I don't know someone that goes on PlayStation and says, hey, I'm gonna go on Call of Duty, not Call of Duty, I'm gonna go on game and play it for 10 hours straight unless it's a campaign. The only time I ever get on console is to play story modes, like Spider-Man.
Yeah. Fair.
With say Uncharted. I don't go on there to play Call of Duty. If I want to play Call of Duty, I go on my PC. Mostly because it's easier to play against other people. It's cross-platform. I have a good computer to play it. But the thing is, it's dwindling the experience for people on consoles, because once you do that cross-platform, people on PC outperform anyone on console because you have analog sticks.
Back in the 360 days, also the comparison to hardware wasn't as far apart as it is today either, where the 360 was pretty solid place to go and play Call of Duty. That's why there was probably the max amount of people during those years of playing Call of Duty games as they came out compared to PC. Other than PlayStation 3, which although people didn't prefer as much since it had the free online, anyone could pick it up and play with other people.
Yeah. All right, go ahead and hit us with the recommended, Ryu.
Recommended stats on this machine for running Cold War are going to be an Intel Core i5 or a Ryzen R7. The RAM required is recommended. It's going to be 12 gigabytes, running a Windows 10 64-bit operating system. Your graphic card should be somewhere around an NVIDIA GeForce GTX 1660 or an AMD Radeon R9. Your pixel shader 5.1, vertex shader 5.1, and 4 gigabytes of dedicated video RAM.
See, that's just a drastic difference between recommended and minimum. You're looking at a $700 difference between a PC setup between the recommended and minimum.
I am a little weirded out by the 4 gigabytes of VRAM, though.
I mean, going from 1 gigabyte VRAM to just 4 gigabyte VRAM, that's actually a drastic change. I mean,
I don't know that even 1 gigabyte cards have been out are even being made anymore, because I'm seeing stuff like the 1080. I believe I saw one the other day with 11 gigabytes.
Yeah, that's a TI. Yeah. It's just insane. I mean, look, I have one that runs 2 gigabytes, and that's the MSI Radeon 360. And I have that in my dad's computer. That's actually one of the best performing ones for cheap and for, something that you could really afford. But, I barely could even run a Call of Duty game on that, that graphics card. And it has an i7 4700K, but it's not 1150 slot. So, it's a DDR3. So the motherboard's very lacking. Yeah. But I think the drastic change between minimum and recommended is easily a lot. I mean, AMD, like you said, FX could definitely not run that. But then they're going from FX to a Radeon 7, Ryzen 7, which is one of the top performing processors out right now, is a Ryzen 7. I mean, it's just that doesn't even equal to a little minimum or recommended. There should be a small space in between that, a little bit of an Intel space going from an i5 from an i3. That's just especially at a low i3. That's just and also Windows 7. Who the hell uses Windows 7 anymore, dude? A
lot of people don't really want to just take the plunge for whatever reason. I can't tell you why, because for the unforeseeable future, it's going to be Windows 10. They're not going to release anything new, so why not just upgrade now and not have to upgrade again? I don't really get it.
But closing out this podcast, guys, we've been going on for about 45 minutes now, and this is our first podcast, guys, and I don't know, I think we hit it pretty good. You guys had to deal with us. This is our first one. Sorry if it wasn't really that irritating for you guys. We had a lot of information in here, and I promise in the future that the videos will be freaking awesome. We have some really good ideas and stuff like that. So, do you guys think this is a good podcast?
I think we know.
Pretty solid.
I think we'll win the internet of 2020.
We're gonna win the internet of 2020. We're gonna teabag everyone. Dude.
Cancel us.
Yeah, no cancels. But yeah, guys, hope you guys did like the information that we gave you guys today for Xbox and PlayStation. A little bit of summary on that. PlayStation's looking a little bit better than Xbox, but Xbox has more power moves. Call of Duty looks awesome so far that we've seen. But we will update you guys in the future podcasts if there's any more information that comes out. We have a lot more information to talk about, but today we wanted a nice, easy, smooth transition into a brand new series and something that's going to maybe be awesome. This podcast could maybe blow up or something, that'd be awesome. But yeah, guys, thank you guys for tuning in for the first podcast. Thank you, Ryu. Thank you, Marx. And thank you, Koblinski, for giving your time to hop on here. And hopefully we'll see you guys next episode next week. See you guys later.
Yep.
Peace out.
Peace.
Thank y'all. What's up, guys, and welcome to your next episode of RageQuit Podcast. It's your boy, Skitty Penis.
God damn it, Ryu. I told you not to do this shit, dude. Every fucking day. Every day.
I'm sorry. I look down there and I get reminded. It's a slip of the tongue.
Jesus. Hey guys, welcome to RageQuit Podcast. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff today, and I want to let you guys know before the episode starts that we do have social medias. Go ahead and subscribe if you are listening on YouTube. That'd be a lot. Please like our video. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple, thank you guys for the 6 listeners we have on Spotify, and also 2 listeners we have on Apple. I know, we're fucking putting on top of charts today. So, thank you guys so much about that. So yeah, let's get right into this. Alrighty, Ragers, let's hop into one of the most anticipated DLCs of the year, Destiny Beyond Light. So, you guys, do you know anything, Ryu? I don't know. I don't know much about the Destiny.
Ryu, help me.
Help me, Ryu.
Bless us with your knowledge.
The knowledge will be granted. So, following the events of Season of Arrivals...
Can you do all of this in the voice of the Crucible guy?
I don't know that I can match Lord Shaxx.
I just need you to drop that voice about 15 octaves.
Following the events of the Season of Arrivals. I don't think that's going to work.
It's okay, do your thing.
Alright, so following the events of the Season of Arrivals, in which multiple pyramid ships begin invading the solar system, a new power is born out of the ancient pyramid ships above Jupiter's icy moon Europa. A dark presence emerges from this, and underneath the banner of the fallen Kell of Darkness, Aramis, the ship stealer. The stranger, last seen at the end of the original Destiny campaign, calls Eris Morn and the Drifter to the Jovian moon to investigate this ship. The Exo-Stranger explains that she comes from a different timeline, where the darkness has actually won. Just as she has provided aid to the Guardian against the Vex 6 years ago, she will return to the present timeline to help the darkness from claiming victory again. This is going to be a very intense storyline and plot taking over Destiny 2, which leads into new subclasses, new aspects, and kind of an open-ended story where it just kind of opens up so much new content for Destiny 2.
Yeah, like me and you were just talking about, like, at the end of Shadowkeep, if anyone's ever played that, because I've been playing Destiny with Ryu and kind of catch up with the lore. Like, at the end of Shadowkeep, Eris touches that statue in one of the pyramids, and it, like, grants her, like, a dark power, like a corruption, and that's where it kind of left off at, and we don't know anything more after that until the new DLC Beyond Light comes out. But we have a lot of, like, theories about that.
Yeah, so one of those theories that comes from that exact thing is the eventual corruption of maybe even Zavala. Something that a lot of people have poked around on YouTube or Reddit even. You'll notice that through that you can see her ghost, or that fragment that she carries with her, kind of form corruption, and she touches it again and that corruption leaks to her instead, and maybe she carries that to the tower, or whatever the case may be. There's a lot that could come from that.
Yeah, there's just so much, and you talked about Zavala as well, maybe getting corrupted as well, because you know how he's changed his personality since Forsaken, and then it went to after Forsaken, he's just kind of been different ever since the Red Legion.
This shit hit different.
Yeah, so with the Red Legion attack and the eventual loss of Cade 6, you can definitely see a change in character from Zavala. He went from being this overwhelmingly powerful force to this almost depressed being who sits on a rail staring off at the Traveler.
Kind of a bitch.
Yes, for lack of better words.
Yeah, he's been kind of a dick recently. Like, he's just been kind of like
fuck off.
Like, especially like with Cade 6 when he didn't even want to go help him, like not go help him, but go kill Uldren, right? Uldren Sov. Wasn't that it? I think it was Uldren Sov, wasn't it? The one that had the Ace
Yes,
of
sir.
Spades. So he didn't even want to go kill him. He just wanted to kind of stay here and make sure nothing else happens. And of course, Ikora, she was like, "Yo, where's your balls at, Zvala? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, what are we gonna go? We gotta go get one of our Vanguard guys, or we gotta we're just gonna stay here and do nothing, Because
He's automatically a power character regardless of how he acts because Titan Master Race.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's not talk about the combined Titan IQ of 19.
Titan
Next
Master
level.
Race.
All right.
So
the DLC comes out in November 10th. We don't have any trailers that kind of spoil much besides the one trailer they announced. But that was about it. I mean, we don't really know what's going to happen, so it kind of opens our minds to kind of making all these theories. I think one day me and Ryu were sitting in the Tower of Destiny thinking for like 2 hours and just spitting facts of what could happen, aka corruption. Could be Zavala killing Eris, and then we had to kill Zavala. Could open up a new Titan race, not a new Titan race, but a new Titan Vanguard guy. Or it could just change the whole story. So like this, I feel like this DLC is going to change Destiny for the next few years, honestly. Like this is going to be ever since it's just going to open up so much opportunities, and even like adding that new race. Aren't they adding the new race? I'm pretty sure.
I haven't heard anything about a new race.
Subclass. It was a subclass.
Yeah, there will be.
That's what I was going to ask. Do we know what the subclasses look like? What the abilities look like for each character?
I do actually.
Ooh.
I'm assuming you'd like me to start with Titans, Mr. Titan
Yeah.
Master Race.
Absolutely.
So the Titans' new subclass will be called the Behemoth. As bombastic, as bombastic as ever, the new Titan Behemoth subclass just sort of transforms their little tiny Titan hands into big old fucking icebergs.
It's like I'm never going to be able to.
Don't make fun of my Titan hands because I have a really sturdy shoulder that will end you every time.
Strong boy.
It seems a little bit underwhelming compared to the Warlock staff or the dual commas that are given to the Hunters. But given how closely the Behemoth seems to resemble the Titan Striker subclass, it shows that it'll have a very reckless offensive power. So a lot of the other stuff really won't matter against the Titan as usual.
Mm-hmm.
That's just different. It just seems like it's going to open up a lot more gameplay. Like with it could change everything. And also, like, I know I got an alert today on Facebook from Destiny. I heard they brought back Iron. What's it called? Iron something.
Iron Banner.
Iron Banner.
Yeah.
And then they opened up a few more things. A few more like missions for EAZ or something like that. Like it's just insane. And like I know we had to help one of our friends get the Solstice gear because I know Solstice ended this past weekend, and that's a bummer. But that was just an easy pull for easy 1020, 1050. I mean, I did my Solstice and got 1050. But I feel like what Ryu was saying, like, starting from the beginning when you guys started the farm and stuff like that, then progressing to the tower, I feel like they made it a little too easy just to become like a top level player. Like Ryu, within a month, I became a 1060. Like, it's just, and yours 1066. Like, how is that? I don't know. It's just, luckily I had you playing with me, but I feel like it's just too easy for the beginning of the game, and hopefully they change something in the next DLC. Like when it comes to looting stuff and the progression, like the quests. I know it took me forever to learn how to get quests and to follow them and track them, and yeah.
So the thing that I'm interested about, Ryu, is you had mentioned in the past that they're getting rid of the Crucible. So what are they doing for people who play so much PvP? What is the new draw for them, or are they just not going to give a shit about the game anymore?
So this is all widened out speculation across Reddit and many other social media websites that they may be getting rid of the Crucible.
Oh, so that's not confirmed.
No, nothing has been confirmed on that so far.
Okay, because to be honest, because I know there's such a huge audience of people who only play Destiny PvP. I don't see that. I don't see that happening.
My brother is part of that niche. He plays a lot of the Crucible on both games.
Yeah, the Crucible sounds fun. I know you told me something the other day about Gambit. The whole collision, the whole colliding thing, with the Gambit Prime and Gambit Regular.
So with the introduction of the Destiny Content Vault, they're going to be taking out Gambit Prime and merging it with Gambit as it stands to kind of create a new kind of Gambit. They haven't really released a lot of details on that yet, and I'm very interested to see where they're going to take it because I personally love Gambit.
Yeah, and we had so many theories around it, right? Remember, because whole Shen and like Drifter thing, how Drifter, we think Drifter is kind of like becoming like a guy using. Well, so far our theory was Drifter is using these motes to create Taken and what's it called, like Primevals, and he's gonna use them and build an army. That's what me and you're like. I don't know if we're like high that night or what, dude, but we were just sitting here talking about that all night, and we came up with a huge like theory around that, like how Drifter in the future could become like a raid boss with all the Primevals that he summons, with us depositing motes for him, because Shin looks down upon us working with Drifter, but he doesn't know. So that could be a big thing too in the future as well. That could be a big play.
Yeah, and as we expect, they're coming out with a lot of new content with the content vault. So the introduction of the Vault of Glass again, and maybe even one more raid.
What?
Yeah, they're reintroducing the Vault of Glass. It's going to be spectacular. I don't know if they're going to be making any changes to it, but it's coming back.
I don't need to. That's straight up enough to get me to want to play the game again.
Yeah, this DLC is opening a lot more. I feel like this DLC is going to bring in like thousands of more people into this game. Opening up a new concept to it, like you said. And some people don't want to play Gambit because me and you always get like hackers with people that just one shot snipe you in the air when they barely can even see you, shooting you through walls. And then you got Prime that me and you've never played because you said it's horseshit. So I agree with you on that, probably most likely because you played the game way longer than me. I feel like some people are going to be probably coming back because you're like, oh, Gambit's actually going to get reworked. And so maybe even Crucible. Who knows Crucible? It's a theory right now, but not theory, but it hasn't been proven yet through articles. But people are going to be seeing that also with the new subclass that you said. Everyone wanting to play the Titan. The Titan.
As usual.
And it's just going to open up so much more gameplay. And I feel like people that are Destiny 1 fans did quit within the first couple DLCs of Destiny 2 because, like you said, when you get to that point right now, you're 60 days away from the new DLC and you're literally just sitting there doing nothing because you have nothing to do besides maybe work up your artifact. I mean...
Unless you're me. I barely got through the tutorial and I just haven't picked it back up again. Otherwise, I would have probably gotten into it.
Believe it or not, if I didn't have Rye teaching me the game, I probably would have gave up within the first day. Like, honestly, I didn't know where to track quests. Game, it's a great game. It's a great game ever since Ryu taught me, but they need to make the game easier for new players. Like, not new players, easier for new players. I mean, like, I feel like they need to make it more complex. Like, with the quests, make sure you don't skip. Because I didn't even do Forsaken. I didn't do any other DLC before Shadowkeep. I finished Shadowkeep, the recent DLC, before I even did anything else. So I skipped, like, 80% of the lore. And if you didn't play D1, you're pretty much lost at that point.
Well... Oversimplification can also keep people from joining in on the game because they might just want to be able to play through it at their own pace.
That's what they did. The
lore in Destiny 1, though, was kind of like, okay, you killed bad guy, go kill more bad guy.
Yeah.
And then when Ryu told me about Cade, like, Cade was, like, my favorite player, and then I got in that cutscene for, like, the vault of, what's it called, the bad guys or whatever. They went down there into that one mission where you had to start it to get, to go kill Aldrin, to get, the Ace of Spades or whatever. I did it the other day. And just watching how badass Cade 6 was, and just seeing, like, the funniness that I never got the experience, especially through D1, and since you said he was one of the main characters in D1, and then just killing him off. I watched, like, that one girl do that reaction, how she said it wasn't fair, exactly what you said, and then just seeing that emotion was just like, this game is great. It gave me the same emotion as Halo did. It gave me the same emotion as, Call of Duty does. Like, it just makes me want to play, but at the same time, killing one of the best, like, main characters, Cade 6, out of nowhere just really threw me off, especially, and the beginning of the game, like you said, like, it was like literally right at the beginning, the first DLC. It just was insane to me, and I feel like they might actually, we talked about this yesterday, right, with Ranson, how they may make like a Cade 7 or whatever, but you did say it, and the developers did say that they aren't bringing Cade 6 back, which is understandable, but they didn't say anything about bringing a Cade 7. But like you said, the golden days technology is gone. So
the weird thing about it, and we do need to fill up that Hunter Vanguard spot. Seeing Cade come back would bring a lot of fans joy, but that would kind of overdo what Bungie really intended. They wanted us to understand there were consequences to every action that a Guardian performed.
Yes.
They wanted us to have a bad guy who was human-sized that we could learn to hate, someone who could interact with us as much as we could interact with him. And that was kind of their ultimate goal. But to see the Hunter Vanguard slot filled is to understand that the Hunter Vanguard has this thing called a dare. Cade 6's dare was whoever could kill him would take his place, which was Uldren Sov. To see Uldren Sov come back to life later on after the raid, we know that Uldren Sov could very well be attempting to take his place as the Vanguard.
Yeah, but it'd be hard to like persuade Ikora and Zavala to allow that, especially as he is the one that killed K6.
And that's Cade 6's dare, though. That's the rules of it. So it wouldn't be up to anyone but Cade.
Yeah, and what I liked about that is how he had like his whole like his where he gave out his will and like you could go get his stuff like you did the other day, like we got the Risk Runner. That was awesome. I loved how they added that to the game, like especially adding his like personality into the game even after he died was just something that like kind of like hurt at the same time, especially watching his last stand cinematic. But it also did teach me that once you lose your ghost, you're done. Like if you die, you're done. And I didn't know anything about that until I watched that. So it was insane, and just watching how good he was and like how cocky he was, like you said, it does show like you do go on these like, especially for me, I go and I like to punch everyone as a hunter. It shows that like, yeah, like I might like go to get, everyone goes and gets cocky like that, but like you said, someone that's so small could do that much impact. It's insane, especially, Shin versus Drifter 1-2, Drifter is one of the 9, right? So it's just, Shin and all that, he's just a powerful dude, especially since we did one mission where he shot 4 bullets of his golden gun into that guy's chest where he got that catalyst.
Just eviscerated him.
It just, seeing how powerful you are, but at the same time, you could get taken out in an instant, over something so stupid like a sniper to your ghost. It's just, it shows that there's consequences and that Guardians aren't as powerful as they think they are. The only thing that Guardians rely on is the light. And if they don't have the light, then they're nothing.
And that kind of takes us back all the way to the Red War. And one of the best dialogues that have ever happened in the game was when Dominus Gall said directly to your character, "You have just simply lost your fear of death."
Yeah, I remember that because I watched that cutscene with you. It's just, it opens up so much stuff, and it makes me mad how they got rid of Cade. But at the same time, like you said, they got to progress. They got to evolve into a new era. They've been living in that part for 3 DLCs now, or 2 DLCs now, and now they got to move on. Which I'm hoping this DLC is like that push. That's what they're gonna do. They're gonna get that push to a new, to a new life, to a new Destiny 2, environment, atmosphere. But we talked a lot about that, guys, and since it's already we talked a lot about that, we're gonna go ahead and leak on to the next game that's gonna be coming out right after Destiny, which is the 13th, and everyone probably already knows that, and we talked about it last week. But Call of Duty Cold War, we're gonna be talking about that now, just a little bit, not too much. But they did come out with huge announcements last week, and also there was a leak. The Facebook Streamer of the Year, the boy Doug is Raw. He did stream for 30 minutes of multiplayer, and it looks like fucking shit. Let's be honest here. I didn't really think it was interesting. I don't know about you guys. I want to hear your guys' opinion on it here in a little bit. But not to mention, there is a big thing that I've left out just now that I want you guys to know that I did find out last week, is that there is no prestige. Just like Modern Warfare.
That's annoying.
Because, they got to make their money somehow. Not, charging you $70 for a game in the future is not going to cut it. So they need to make a battle pass. So that's what they're doing. They're integrating the prestige segment into a battle pass like they did in Modern Warfare. So you're most likely going to get to... It
works so well with Black Ops 4.
It does. But I didn't really like the whole battle pass in Modern Warfare, to be honest with you.
I don't like Modern Warfare.
Yeah, it just did bring...
Yeah, we heard...
Getting to level 55 and then going to 155, and then after 3 months you lose that progress, and then you're like, wow, I'm back to 55 again. It's too repetitive. And I hope instead of doing the 55 to 155, they do like progressing through levels, not pulling back. I wish you can get to like level 1000 or something like that. Like you could in like, what was it, Black Ops 2? Or like not Black Ops 2. It was like
with pretty much every Call of Duty since they've added Prestige Master, what you do is you go through 10th Prestige and then you hit Master Prestige, and Master Prestige has 1,000 levels in it.
Yeah, and it's just like I wish they'd go back to that instead of doing the whole battle pass. But like what Ryu told me the other day, it's just that's just the way they're pulling money in now. Especially since you have to pay $10 every 3 months to just get something that you would get progressing through prestiges. Like instead of doing a battle pass, why don't they just add like loot drops like they did in Advanced Warfare? It would make more sense to get guns. But at that point, in Advanced Warfare, those gun skins, they actually do a difference to your gun damage, which I hate. That's what I hate about Advanced Warfare. But I feel like
that seems really bad.
Yeah, I feel like that's just something that they should do. But instead of making like the damage like different through skins, I think they should just add skins instead of just because people purchase skins all the time, like CS:GO. I mean, it doesn't add any difference, but people will literally spend millions of dollars on throughout billions. Actually, I think CS:GO's made billions of dollars through their case systems. $2.50 for a key, and then you also have to buy like a 30-cent case or even get it in drops. But I mean, people would do that. They would make more money than just doing a battle pass and just adding prestiges. Like you would get this gun through a prestige 2, level 34, or something like that. But that's just my personal opinion. What do you guys think?
I mean, it's kind of universally looked down upon anything that's like pay to win. People really don't take it too well, and I mean, for good reason. So I'm really hoping they don't go with that kind of route, because every time I've seen that happen, everybody's willing to put down the company for doing it.
Yeah, like you had a perfect thing right there. Like, the pay to win. I feel like the battle pass is not really a pay to win, mostly because even if you don't have the battle pass, you still unlock, like, let's say, like, the 45 was unlocked at level 20 something. I think it was level 25, even if you didn't have battle pass. But you missed out on double XP tokens, you missed out on free tokens, you missed out on emblems, cool skins. And it makes you feel like, hey, I'm poor, I can't afford this, so I can't get cool things like everyone else can. Like, I feel like that's like a big thing that I was like that. Call of Duty was never supposed to be like that. That was supposed to be just FIFA. FIFA or like any EA game.
Considering all the Call of Duty games stay at 60 for like years after. I think even like a year ago, I went to go suggest World at War to one of my friends, went on the Steam page and saw that it's still $60, and I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, like Black Ops 1 is still $60 on Xbox online.
Yeah, 2, and all the DLCs are still incredibly expensive. Like, if I don't have all the DLCs for all the games, because I'm not going to give them $200 more for an 8-year-old game. True,
that's true, and even GTA is the same way, but GTA still puts out content. But the thing is, like, GTA is kind of irrelevant these days. They added DLC, but they only put like 2 missions in for you to do, or like a heist that you could redo. But at the same time, you have to purchase all these things that you have to do through the other heists that you have to run millions of times, and it's just like incorporating the whole money.
It's
system.
Also a really grindy game, and it has been out since 2013. So it's safe to say almost everybody owns GTA. I think I looked at a thing.
I have a couple copies.
Yeah, and I mean, they gave it out through Epic Games not that long ago, but the game, I'm pretty sure Grand Theft Auto is one of the most top grossing franchises, even over Star Wars and all that, of all time.
Yeah, it's just, I feel like Call of Duty, when it comes to that, the pay to win aspect, I don't think they're ever going to get to that point, but they might. I mean, EA has only been to that point that's actually pay to win. A few other games on Steam, Steam games, app games, Apple games, those things are just meant to have. You pay 99 cents to get rid of ads, like stuff like that. But I feel like they should just add the prestige system, just get drops for skins, and then they make more money through that way than they would doing $10 a month on Battle Pass. They would get more people would spend more money on skins than they would just doing on Battle Pass.
Allow me to play the devil's advocate then.
Mm-hmm.
I strongly believe that the Battle Pass being implemented into the game isn't such a negative thing, so much so as a high positive for people who don't get as much time to play the game. So they're giving them an option to buy their levels and get the content that they would otherwise have to spend all of their free time playing to earn.
That's true.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, it's always good to have options.
The reason why I'm so mad about the Battle Pass is I love prestiging. Like, there's no other better feeling than knowing that you hit level 55, 60, 50, whatever level you get to. Because Black Ops 1 was 50 when you prestiged. What was it? Modern Warfare series, Modern Warfare 2 and 3, like it was level 55 or something like that. I just miss those aspects. Just be like, oh yeah, I'm going to restart, but I get to keep these things and keep my levels and my guns, but I have to re-unlock them. So it gives me more grinding than it would be, grinding for a battle pass that you get something that you don't even want, like a cool emblem,
And I mean, for someone like me, I never prestiged on any game, any of the Call of Duty games. I never played them that often because I just didn't dedicate enough time to them.
Oh, I prestiged the shit out of all the CODs.
But the good thing about like that method, I guess, would be if you really did want to just drop some money to get some of the stuff, you could do that. So it is good to have options, but like, for people that want to sit there and actually grind it out for that long, it is kind of, I don't quite understand why they can't have both. I really don't.
Yeah, and like since we talked more about the thing, I also want to talk about more of like the leak as well. So like the multiplayer and stuff that you guys watched. I'm sure you guys have already watched the leak, the 30-minute leak of the multiplayer. It was all right. It was okay. I just feel like the game has like when I watched it, I feel like the game has the same gameplay as Black Ops 3, and especially it just doesn't look appealing to me. It looks like another one of those advanced kind of looking, futuristic looking old games. Like they did with Black Ops 2, like Black Ops 2 is supposed to be like 5 years from now, and it looked futuristic as hell, especially like at that time when we played it, because, we weren't used to the graphics. We were coming from Modern Warfare 3. But I feel like the games now are progressing through the engines that they're making now. Like everyone thinks that, Call of Duty, I believe, I don't care about the engine that they're made on. Mostly because I don't care about graphics like that point. I mean, story modes, yes, but a multiplayer, I care about the guns. I care about the way it plays, the appealing aspect to it. Is it good, leveling? Is it good getting kills? Is it, is it hard to kill the other team? Do they have special effects to them like Black Ops 3, their specialties? But they don't have specialties, which we mentioned last episode. It just doesn't look appealing to me, and the maps are what's going to make it too. I've seen that one map that he leaked, didn't look appealing to me either. The map was a little too dark. It looked like, I feel like I was playing Call of Duty Ghost, which I love Call of Duty Ghost, but at the same time,
it was at nighttime.
Yeah, and I don't like the nighttime aspect.
Speaking of that futuristic scenario, I do see it reminds me of Black Ops 2. But it seems like it was kind of in I know there was a map in Black Ops 2 that was also like a casino map. That's what it kind of reminds me of, with all of those glowing neon signs and stuff. So that could just be what they're going with, like a high-end district, considering it was a protect the VIP type game mode.
Well, it's also not futuristic. I thought it's back in the 60, 70, 80 era.
They did have a lot of neon signs.
Yeah, it wasn't futuristic. Like that's what I was saying. It looked futuristic for an older game, like a Cold War game, 80s, 90s. And it just felt like it should be like a Black Ops 2 feel, or like a Black Ops 1 feel, like an older kind of not too bright of colors. Maybe added a little bit, like, I don't know. I feel like the graphics are what I was mostly talking about at that point. Like,
I think it's because it's a lot more jarring, since when you remember Black Ops and the time period when Black Ops 1 came out, graphics weren't, even close to what maybe the modern warfare does now. So having modern graphics in a game set at the same time as an older game just kind of sets your mind to confuse.
I think
That's true.
I think I'm just fucking old. Like I think I'm just fucking old. Too old. I think I'm just like I feel so shitty talking about this, because like it's like they're progressing as a company, and they're progressing as like the games. But I just dude, I can't, like, the last decade was just the beginning of the last decade. I just when I look at 2020 and 2010, I'm thinking of Cold War from Black Ops 1. I'm thinking like I'm comparing this game to Black Ops 1, because Black Ops 1 was one of my favorite Call of Duties. I grinded that so many times. I would play it nonstop. I love the theme music. I would literally listen to it on Spotify if I could all day. I just feel like I'm getting old for it, and I feel like they're trying to appease the older audience because they're bringing it back to those days. But at the same time, it's just, we don't care because it just doesn't look good like it used to. Like
Call of Duties. So much better 10 years ago.
I feel like with Modern Warfare, they took the whole, because people bitched about it being too fast paced, flying around, blah blah blah, and I think they took that comment too literally. And because I'm watching the gameplay right now, and it seems like they've slowed it down so much that it just doesn't even feel like Call of Duty, like what the last 15 years of Call of Duty. Yeah. It's an entirely different game. It's slower, and it's like, I don't know. And then the other point that my mind just got sidetracked, so I didn't bring it up earlier. But like for me, when I play COD, it's all about the progression. So when you were talking about the battle pass, something I love to do is go through and get all of the camos. But that's just not a feasible thing to do anymore unless you're a Call of Duty content creator. Yeah, and you have to spend $10 just to get the cool camos. And when back in the day at Black Ops 1, you would literally just have to progress, do challenges, do contracts, just progress through prestiges. But when I also can mention that the prestiges would also, I could see their whole problem, because when you add prestige system to the game, you're adding hacking.
Like, you're gonna have people that try to do the whole theater mode thing, like they did Black Ops 1, Black Ops 2. You know, you're gonna bring hackers trying to you're gonna have to you're bringing a whole hacking group into trying to get master prestige within the first week or two from just doing that. And
well, that doesn't necessarily stop at just prestiges though, because people can still go max level.
yeah. And it's just one of those things I can understand, but at the same time, it's such a big bummer, especially since they're trying to bring the Black Ops 1 aesthetic back. You know, it's just really disappointing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just be lucky they aren't adding loot boxes like they did in World War II, which is another game that when they brought it back to an older game but like revised, some people weren't too happy to go all the way back to that. But honestly, considering the gameplay was, I would say, 40% just sliding, I'm not too big of a fan of the slide feature anymore, as much as I liked the dolphin dive in the original game.
Yeah,
Dolphin dive was just goofy. It was
Dolphin
funny.
dive was just
Yeah,
funny.
it was a good.
And that's why I loved about it. But going on from that, I wanted to also talk about this too. You know, I was joking earlier when I said, you know, Doug is Raw as the Facebook streamer of the year, of course, you know, because it was just a joke, whatever. But do you guys think like the repercussions of him streaming the 30-minute multiplayer was really brought about the way that they did? They took his sponsorships. He'll never ever get a leak of Call of Duty ever again in his life. You know, the guy only averaged like what 200 to 300 viewers on Facebook anyways. Like, was it that big of a leak to the point that they've done that? I mean, I've seen Nade Shot, I've seen people, big Call of Duty competitive people leak it before. Like IW, I think it was one of the Envy guys or something like that leaked about 15 minutes of multiplayer. But like, it's just, I think the way they approached the aspect of punishing him was a little too hard. I mean, I understand the punishment if the guy is like, you know, huge, like competitively, you know, like someone that people look up to, people that actually watch. Let's say like Dr. Disrespect averages like 70K viewers, you know, something like that on YouTube, and he did 30 minutes of the gameplay on accident. I understand at that point, but there was only 200, 300 people watching the guy at that point. But
so the way I see it is typically when you get access to something like that, you sign an NDA, right? So you are bound by contract agreeing not to share anything that you see, not to make gameplay on it, not to do any of that. And the other thing is, how do you accidentally stream something? You know, how do you...
Yeah, I saw those headlines, and you can't really accidentally...
You have to pretty intentionally, like, open up a stream software and start broadcasting.
Well, like, for me, I have a hotkey for streaming and recording on OBS. And maybe he accidentally hit
you have to have it open.
Hotkey.
Yeah, you gotta have OBS open.
Yeah, maybe he had it open to record. Maybe he was recording to upload within a month, within a couple weeks. Because there is a grace period. Like, they can't upload 2-3 days before the game comes out. They're allowed to. They do it every year.
But they have to be authorized by the company themselves.
Well, yeah, I mean,
time.
he probably already was authorized. He got the game way before everyone. You know, like like Ali A and stuff like that. They always pre-record. Maybe he was gonna record the gameplay or whatever, but actually click the stream button. You know, it could have been an accident.
I've got some pre-recorded footage that I'll never be able to show the light of day of Gearbox Software has been developing a game called Project 1v1, and I got keys to play that game when it came out, and there was an NDA, and in the contract of the NDA, you can't even show old builds of the game at all, like at any point in the future.
Yeah, exactly.
When the game comes out. Yeah. So it depends on the NDA.
Yeah. I just feel like it could have been an accident. It could have been whatever. I guess we'll never know because they kind of been keeping it on the DL. They've been deleting articles online and stuff like that of the leaks. They've been their PR has been working really hard. You know, it's just like one of those things. I don't know. I couldn't really tell you if it was an accident or on purpose or if like that was an extreme thing. You know, ruining some guy's whole career over something. But like you said, the NDA could have been really, very big. You know, especially for the new Call of Duties. Especially since this is the most anticipated Call of Duty in this decade. This is going to change this decade's Call of Duty, hopefully. But yeah, just going off of that, we got the next game we're going to come out too, because we've been talking about Call of Duty a long time, especially since we had last episode. We want to move on to something else. So So I don't know if you guys are ready for this, but we have all around the world's best, most waiting game. This developers are known for inconsistency, but always pull through at the end, except for Origins. But the future game of the year is going to be Valhalla. So we're going to be talking about Valhalla. What do you guys think about it?
Based off what I've seen, and this is coming from a long time Assassin's Creed fan, right? They're bringing back key aspects that Assassin's Creed has lost. And depending on how well they implement these into the game, I am excited to see if it is a game I will like. I enjoyed Origins. It was new. It was a new taste, new turn. I thought Odyssey was boring strictly because
Really?
it was basically like a super DLC of Origins. To me, it felt like the same thing, and it was just on a much grander scale. I liked the characters. I thought Alexios and I can't remember the girl's name, but I thought playing with them and the uniqueness that they had, especially compared to Syndicate and how they handled that, I think the uniqueness of those characters was really cool. And I think the builds were a lot more fleshed out compared to Origins, but it felt like a lot more of the same thing to me. The biggest thing for me that I'm waiting on seeing is the Hidden Blade. They're adding back the Hidden Blade to my understanding, and it's supposed to be an instant kill again, like it has been in all of the Assassin's Creed up to this point.
Wait, hold on. They removed the Hidden Blade at some point?
There hasn't been a true Hidden Blade mechanic in a while, other than like cutscenes.
That's kind of crazy because that was like one of the most defining things.
Yeah, that's a defining thing. So I've heard they're bringing back the Hidden Blade, and it's supposed to be an instant kill again. So if that's true, that'll be a big deal for me personally. And then also,
like a Vikings time.
I love Vikings, so I'm kind of excited about that.
Yeah, but like, I mean, the Vikings weren't really, as far as I know, very stealthy people.
Well, no, but it's all about the order, right? Like it's the order of assassins throughout history. It's not necessarily that culture of people is an entire group of assassins.
Yeah, this is supposed to be one of the most bloody like Assassin's Creed games coming out. Like the Vikings are very, very, very bloody people.
They're
and very,
ruthless.
very they're ruthless. So it's going to be bringing that aspect of difficulty to the game now, because there hasn't been another game that's been overhyped since I would say Black Flag. I remember Black Flag was freaking way hype like before it came out. That was the last time I ever seen someone actually really people actually really excited and also have good reviews. I love the Black
that's
Flag.
one of the few times the overhype actually like followed through too.
Yeah.
People love Black Flag,
and it brought in that aspect. He was a pirate, like the main character. He wasn't even an assassin. He killed an assassin, took his personality, and then tried to basically get a profit off of it. If I'm right, but I'm gonna
be honest. I'm not the person to talk to about deep lore. I just play the games.
Yeah, and I played Brotherhood. I love that. You go into the game, you're assassin, do all that good stuff. Brotherhood was probably the best like Assassin's Creed to myself. But that's the last game I ever I only played those two games. I only played Brotherhood and Black Flag. I never played Origins, but I've watched like reviews. I've seen gameplay, and I've seen that Origins just wasn't building that expectations that everyone has of the Assassin's Creed franchise. And that's what I'm excited about the Valhalla, because I've never seen everyone blow up over an Assassin's Creed game until now, because I haven't seen it in 6-7 years since Black Flag came out or whatever. Dude,
a lot
Valhalla's
of people did hype up Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey was that, but it just wasn't a follow-through game like Koblinski said. Like Black Flag was probably the last one that probably most likely went through with the good gameplay.
So I'm definitely in the minority. People generally responded very well to Odyssey. I just felt like it was a lot of the same thing in Origin, like almost too much of the same thing that Origins was. Just a super big map. Basically, like the way I think of it is, think of taking Skyrim, right? Like the game itself, and then adding like 15 DLCs and then putting it on a different map with the exact same gameplay mechanics. And that's basically what it was.
An open world, non-linear game changes the entire game.
It changes the feel, yeah.
So it's kind of like the Fallout aspect, Fallout 76. You're bringing in the same mechanics and kind of like the same thing as like Fallout 4. Fallout 4 was the best Fallout game ever created. Like Fallout, I love Fallout.
Ooh, that's a hot take.
I love Fallout 4.
3.
Fallout 3.
Fallout New Vegas is what I pretty much hear people love. I'm with you, Huddy. I love Fallout 4. It's my favorite, but I think Fallout New Vegas is the fan fave.
The reason why Fallout New Vegas was such a fan fave is because everyone broke it.
Well, also because it was written by the people who made the original two games, which are absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever played the original two.
Oh, they're so fucking good. They're worth going back and playing, even though they're kind of dated by now.
I believe Valhalla will take a big spot in the game of the year, mostly because God of War 4 taken the game of the year in 2018. The best game I ever watched. I didn't play because I couldn't afford the $60 game because I was in college. I watched it, dude. Awesome gameplay, awesome game. But I think Valhalla, if it sticks with its true path, like you said, and it sticks with the good gameplay, with the good storyline, I could tell you right now, I guarantee it's gonna be one of the game of the years for 2020.
I'll tell you right now though, if Cyberpunk lives up to the hype, that's going to be game of the year.
Yeah.
Oh my god, yeah.
Since you brought that up, we're gonna go ahead and go right into Cyberpunk. So next up, we'll be talking about the most pushed back game of the year of the century, the one with the most handsome, sexy daddy of all, Keanu Reeves. Cyberpunk 77 was made by CD Projekt, aka the ones who made Witcher. I say cue the, toss a coin to your Witcher, because, I love that song. So, but we don't have to sing it. CD Projekt has also made their own engine called Red Engine. They've been using it since Witcher 2. Honestly, the graphics were awesome in the Witcher series. If you guys ever played them, Koblin, I know you do a lot of game series. Definitely do Witcher 3, The Hunt. That's gonna be a good game for your YouTube channel. I love that game. It's so good.
Big ass game to make a series out
it's
of.
kind
Big
of
ass game.
You're
But
definitely gonna donate some hours.
Future game though, man. I'm putting that out there, and it's just
Because I'm probably gonna end up streaming Cyberpunk, honestly, just because it's supposed to be so big.
But yeah, going back to that, they use their own engine called Red Engine. It's a beautiful engine. It's honestly flawless. It's compared to the real engine. And the only people that use it is actually CD Projekt, and they've been using it since The Witcher 2. So they're actually using that for Cyberpunk 2077, and the shit's about to be fire, hopefully. And I don't know about
Hopefully,
Cyberpunk.
man. I hope it lives up.
Yeah, I don't know much about Cyberpunk, but I do know the theme song is going to be Hey You by Pink Floyd. That's definitely going to be one of those things. Hey You! Out there all alone. But so let's go ahead and talk about some Cyberpunk. Since Cyberpunk was actually one of the most hyped games coming out, but it's been pushed back the most times I've ever seen in my life, like 6 times.
Which
I feel
I personally see as a good sign, because it means that, because there's a lot of companies that are like, we're not going to push our game back because this is our deadline, and then they push out a shit half-assed game. And I said before that, like my roommate in college, we were talking about it way back, in January, and we were both like, I would rather they push this game back to 2022 and make it what they want us to see instead of release it right now and it's dog shit.
That's what I feel about Call of Duty. I feel like Call of Duty shouldn't come out every year. I feel like Infinity Ward and all that should take like 2 years. Instead of doing it every year, I would rather have a good Call of Duty than having one every year. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm really kind of hoping this doesn't turn into a Half-Life 3 situation.
Yeah.
Or a Half-Life Andromeda situation.
What do you think, Ryan?
Well,
I know you've been looking at it.
Close to launch now.
I know you've been looking at Cyberpunk, Ryan. What do you think of it, man?
I'm extremely excited for this game, and for one major thing, I mean, it's going to have the man Keanu Reeves in it.
I actually don't know much about that part of it. I didn't even know Keanu Reeves was really in the game.
Bro, that was like their whole reveal.
Yeah,
really? I didn't
the
even
main
look at
character.
that.
It's going to be incredible.
I love you. I love you.
I love you.
So here's the big news, though, as I'm sitting here looking some stuff up, is that they are adding in microtransactions to multiplayer specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
So tell me a little bit more about Cyberpunk. I wasn't one of those people that was really hyped for it. I didn't really care for it, not gonna lie. What is the whole aspect of Cyberpunk? Let everyone know so we can all get our hands on it, because I don't know anything about Cyberpunk.
I mean, you go right ahead.
So it's a dystopian society based on a tabletop type game called what was the original called? Cyberpunk 20 was it 2076? I can't remember what it was, but tabletop game, sort of like I would say Borderlands, how Borderlands has all the companies that are kind of running the world at the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's kind of like. It's a dystopian society where all these companies are forging down, and there's 3 different classes you get to play as, and I'm not sure. From what I've seen, it looks like they all have different stories, but the city's just so huge that it can accommodate all of them.
You see, I'm so excited about that because I know CD Projekt. They're like top of the line, just like Naughty Dog. Making those great games, but also taking their time and actually making the games good. Naughty Dog's known for The Last of Us, and also I'm pretty sure they're known for Uncharted, right?
Yeah.
So those Uncharted series are actually one of my most favorite series ever in the world. I played Uncharted 4 maybe 3 times, and I love that stuff. So I'm excited to see what CD Projekt does, because they have a really good, franchise. They have really good reviews. They've never really put out a game that's really been bad. aka Witchers have always been a good series, always been really good, always been promising. Good at DLCs, don't overcharge. But I'm really excited about the CD Projekt, and I feel like they're gonna make this game really good. If that's what it is, then I'm pretty sure I don't see CD Projekt investing into a game that's not going to be one of the nominations for best game of the year. Believe it or not, but
a lot of the really good things about this game, though, is the AI and the technology that they give you in the game are incredible.
Dude, yeah,
there are entire missions where you're just trying to get one machine that can do one specific special task, rewinding people's minds through an implant that you can then re-see the entire scene, sort of like Arkham Knight style, except you actually see it from their point of view and every point of view in the building and feel what they're feeling at the time.
The tech looks like the upgrade path of the weapons and shit looks so cool. They look the expansiveness of the abilities.
Single situation. I'm pretty sure there's lots and lots of ways that they designed that you can even play the game without doing any combat.
I'm excited for that. That's gonna be definitely dope. Do you have any more things to put in that, Ryu? I know you've been researching Cyberpunk like all day and all yesterday and stuff like that. So I want to hear what you have to say as well.
As far as Cyberpunk goes, kind of the more in-depth look at it, it takes place in a place called Night City, California, which is extremely crime-ridden, almost like Gotham. You'll be taking control of a V, which is a mercenary deeply embedded in the underworld of Night City. Each V will be incredibly customizable with different skill sets, cyberware, and amazing changes to playstyle. Every choice you make in the game will shape the story and the world around you.
Wait, so it's supposed to implant like a butterfly effect? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, dude, I haven't seen that since, what was it, that one game, Until Dawn.
Yes.
That was a great game with butterfly effect. All right, go on.
Keanu Reeves was probably the biggest thing, but he's going to be playing the mysterious Johnny Silverhand, hard rocker for the fictional band Samurai. He's going to be helping your V accomplish. Don't take that the nasty way. He's going to be helping your V accomplish the quest that you have going on, as well as his own hidden agenda. So I'm not really sure what his hidden agenda is going to be, or what the overall quest that you're on is going to be, but I'm extremely excited to see it.
I'm excited to see it too, man. I know a lot of people's been hyping it up on Twitter, and also IGN's been hyping it up, since they're a very biased article platform. But I honestly think we should get to that point of the episode where we're gonna actually rank these games on our own personal perspective. We're all gonna probably have most likely different ranks. Who wants to go first? Anyone want to go first? Who thinks going to be the most popular game as number 1 to the least popular game of the year? That's probably going to be, that's really hyped at this point at number 5.
So I guess I'll go first. From a longevity perspective and just knowing the Call of Duty community, I think, even with initial hype, Call of Duty is going to end up being the most played unless people replay, Cyberpunk like they replay Skyrim, over and over and over again. So from a public perspective, I would probably say Call of Duty, Cyberpunk, Valhalla, Destiny. Or sorry, it's Call of Duty, Cyberpunk, Valhalla, Destiny. For me, it's going to go Cyberpunk, Valhalla, Destiny, Call of Duty.
Yeah. I would have to
I suppose I'll go next.
Alrighty.
I agree with Cameron on Call of Duty being at the top of the list there, because that's just gonna be the way that it's gonna be. And then also Cyberpunk. But since Cyberpunk is more of a single player focused experience, and a lot of people these days are really into the competitive scene, even though I personally am not, I'm actually gonna say Destiny would be above Cyberpunk, and then Assassin's Creed, because I still think a lot of people have kind of fallen off on Assassin's Creed unless this game really hits.
Yeah, it really slaps. What about you, Rye?
I'm looking at Destiny to take the top slot this time, but I'm kind of biased in that matter. Call of Duty would probably take the second slot, and Cyberpunk taking the third slot, with Assassin's Creed taking up that final slot. I just don't see a whole lot coming from it that hasn't been delivered before, and if they do manage to pull off something new, there are probably not going to be a lot of people who buy the game to see it.
You know what I did kind of realize? I said out of 5 because I totally forgot that we did take out that one called Chris Tales. looked it up because we had it on a list, but you guys, I don't think I talked to you guys about this. But Chris Tales is like one of those like weird games, like weird anime weeb games, and it was actually like on the list of like one of the most anticipated games at the end of this year. But at the same time, I looked at it. Me and Ryan were like, "What? We're gonna get made fun of when we talk about this."
All right, boys, let's just revise the list then. Let's add the fifth one to be Minecraft.
Minecraft number 1, dude. 100%.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, my list,
Minecraft.
I would have to say I'm very biased as well, mostly because I'd never played Destiny, and I always kind of looked over Destiny whenever it did come out, like Destiny 1 and everything up to Shadowkeep of Destiny 2. But I would say number 1. I look at the most like I look at the games that, you know, Valhalla has a ton of potential. You know, like Elder Scrolls, Skyrim. You know, that game is still being played till this day, even if it was released in 2011. It got reworked in 2015. Everyone still plays it. It still has more fucking players than probably Call of Duty Black Ops 3, 2, and 1 all combined. It has all those player bases, I guarantee you. But what I have to say is, you know, Cyberpunk, since you guys did say it did have a multiplayer aspect to it,
Yeah, it's gonna have a multiplayer aspect.
then that definitely ups it on the list, because if it has a multiplayer aspect, that means people can play with each other on that. I don't know about Valhalla if it's gonna have a multiplayer access or anything like that. Most likely, you know, Assassin's Creed's always been kind of like
I used to love Assassin's Creed multiplayer. I'm not gonna lie. I know I'm like that's a niche market, but I love Assassin's Creed multiplayer.
But then we go to Call of Duty, and I just feel like Call of Duty the past 5-6 years have always been one of those overhyped games, but just never really fell through for the first 3 months.
It always will be, and it'll always be played.
Yes,
Yeah,
it'll always
it
be
will
played, but we're talking about
no matter
people.
what you do.
Yeah, I mean, like, for instance, I probably play Call of Duty for about 3 or 4 months and I get burned out on it, you know, because it's just one of those things that they just take forever on. So my list is going to be number 1. I would have to say Valhalla, because I would have to say Valhalla has already created that aspect of the game of the year. It's also going to be one of those games that's going to be played for a long time, especially since Assassin's Creed is going to probably take another few years to make the next game after that. So it's going to be overplayed, like kind of like a Fallout. I know so many people that played Fallout 76 like 3 times already, like leveled their character and restarted it.
Oh yeah.
But it's just one of those games I think is just going to keep being played. It's going to be one of those legendary games, especially if it gets pushed out right, if it gets promoted right, and it's just good. Number 2, I would have to say would be Destiny, because Destiny 2, believe it or not, I didn't know anything about it until I started playing Ryu, and I've seen a lot of people so passionate about it, and it has such a good fan base. It's not toxic. It's just one of those games that it's just going to be overhyped, especially when you start knowing the lore. You start seeing that this game is going to be, this new DLC is going to change a lot of aspects to Destiny 2's gameplay and also to just its storyline in general. So I'm really excited about that. That's a little biased there, but that's because I played it. If you guys out there listening have not played Destiny 2, it's free to play up until Forsaken, and then it's about $50 to get all the DLCs. It's a little deal, and you also get $10 game pass. You get the season pass, so for free as well. But just going on for that, number 3, I would have to say would probably be Cyberpunk, mostly because I heard Cyberpunk had a multiplayer, so people are going to be playing that. They're going to replay it as well. It's been overhyped. It has more hype than Call of Duty in general at this point. You know, I've seen so many more people talk about Cyberpunk than you can see about Call of Duty. Everyone's just tired of Call of Duty at this point. They know it's going to be good, but at the same time, like, we get our hopes up every year, but it just turns shit. So like, we're just not getting too hyped about it, because once you get too hyped about Call of Duty, it's just destined to fail, because the devs see that, hey, we've done a good job, we're not going to work on it anymore. You know, and that's just what they do. But then number 4 slot would have to be Call of Duty, because Call of Duty, I feel like it's going to be one of those good games. But since I saw the aspect of the 30-minute leaked multiplayer, even though it's not done, I just don't see that the multiplayer is going to be anywhere competitive, like anywhere like to the point that I'm going to be maybe grinding on it. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm not. I don't know. Maybe my thing will change. Maybe in a few more podcasts where when these games come out or whatever, we'll actually rate them again. But I feel like Call of Duty is most likely, you know, going to follow its footsteps like the past few ones. And just fail, because Black Ops 4 was a travesty to me.
Yeah, I completely skipped that game. I couldn't do it.
And, you know, going off of Black Ops 1, 2, and 3, I liked Black Ops 3, and I was like, okay, you know, because Treyarch has that spot that they've never really made a bad Call of Duty until Call of Duty Black Ops 4. I didn't like it. That's my personal opinion. So I feel like they're going to keep going on that aspect, and they're going to maybe make this game not likable either. Because they like to look at competitive people. They like to look at community and kind of take off that. That's a good thing, but at the same time, they need to make their own game. You know, they need to make the game, and hopefully people will like it, but do add that aspect of community. But I feel like they kind of just been bullied to the point that they just don't know what to make anymore or what to do anymore for multiplayer. And I feel like the story mode is going to be great. I would rate that number 1, honestly, at the story modes. But I'm looking at multiplayer and everything around it, and I think that's going to be in the 4th spot.
I mean, Cyberpunk, it really depends on that front if you're focusing on the multiplayer, on whether it's going to be a co-op multiplayer or like a shooter game or
I think it'll be more like kind of like Gears of War style multiplayer.
I hope it's like Grand Theft Auto.
See, that's what I'm hoping about. Like, Gears of War.
Shooter.
Gears of War is so fun. Like, I love Gears of War's multiplayer, and I hope that is it. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and end this episode off here, guys. So you guys should join the episode. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Apple or Spotify, make sure you go to our YouTube, give it a subscribe too. It helps out a lot. And please like and subscribe if you guys did.
Yeah. Listen, Huddy. I don't want to cut you off, but I got to say this. There was 130 something views on that first episode, and we have 20 subscribers. What in the hell are you doing with yourself? Subscribe to this podcast right now.
Yeah, like what he said, right? He said, and yeah, by the way, guys, thank you for that 130 views on our last podcast. Was hopefully this one will get the same. This one's a little bit more funner for us because we actually got to talk about our games this year that we really are anticipating. And make sure you guys turn the notification bell on. You guys will see all of our uploads in the future. Follow and subscribe. I don't know if you subscribe on Apple Music or follow, but do that on our Spotify and Apple. It means a lot to us, guys. And we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.
Later.